MDOT presents the Extra Mile Podcast.
Welcome into another edition of the Extra Mile Podcast presented by the Mississippi Department of Transportation. I'm Paul Catul, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Will Kraft. And today, once again, we're on the road. We're in one of the coolest, hippest cities in Mississippi that I've really enjoyed getting to visit in my MDOT travels. We are right here in City Hall with the mayor, Mayor Toby Barker. He's been mayor since 2017, and before then served in the Mississippi House of Representatives. Mayor Barker, thanks for hosting us here again.
Super glad to have y'all here.
We are very glad to be here, no doubt.
No doubt. And there's, Hattiesburg is just growing and growing and growing. Lots of different things going on. What are some of the main happenings, major initiatives that you're focusing on as mayor right now?
Well, the neatest thing for us right now, and one thing that we really set out to do when we took office, was we want to see progress in every part of the city. We don't want it to be concentrated just on the 98 corridor or Midtown, even those are certainly hot hands right now. But just seeing the amount of progress happening in each and every corner of our city, made possible by our partnerships at the state and federal level, including MDOT. In the last year, we've opened 2 railway overpasses, which were, that's a centuries-old transportation challenge that we've had of block train crossings, and within 12 months and a lot of money, they were both fixed. And so being able to get over both the Norfolk Southern Line and Canadian National Line, which really has opened up the door for development in East Hattiesburg, really has created a lot of opportunities for those neighborhoods, and also just been a huge quality of life enhancer because we did those the right way. Then, of course, you have Midtown with the University of Southern Mississippi being there, and we're hoping for a strong football campaign this year. And then, seeing work in the avenues with the zoo and the water park, and seeing the work in South Hattiesburg where William Carey is. And so it really is just the most rewarding part right now is seeing progress in every corner of the city.
Amazing.
And look,
What's going on?
You definitely listed several of those things right now, but I just, for the sake of not skipping over, because so much work goes into each project. Once it's done, it's great, but sometimes, you just forget how much went into that. But some of the other things that we were talking about beforehand, the zoo, the Serengeti Springs, that thing has grown tremendously from the time I was, even in college here a decade or so ago.
Well, the game changer for us was seeing our convention center take over management of the zoo, because they do hospitality, they do events, they do attractions very well. And so when they took over in 2009, 2010, you immediately saw a change. And they kept expanding. They would, we'd get them a little state money to do a new exhibit, but really having, their revenue stream to fall back on created an opportunity then to move across the creek and take over what was kind of a older baseball field that had some challenges. And so Serengeti Springs moved there while we used our Parks and Rec money to build baseball, a new facility over by Hattiesburg High. We just hosted the Dixie Boys World Series a couple weeks ago. We had teams from 12 states there. And to see kind of all of it clustering, everyone cooperating so that we can continue elevating the experience of visitors and residents here. But that water park is something else. We live about 4 blocks from there, so every time my kids complain about what there is to do during the summer, I'm like, not every kid gets to grow up within walking distance of a zoo and a water park. And so it really has been a game changer for just the quality of life of our community.
Sure. And then another one, the new rec center, right?
Yeah, so at inauguration this year, we announced that Hattiesburg was the recipient of a very large donation, $35 million from 2 anonymous donors, to build an indoor recreation space here in our city out at Tatum Park. And so that will be a multi-purpose type facility where there's volleyball, basketball, pickleball. You can do indoor futsal, which is indoor soccer, and have seating for 800 people. When we think about just youth sports and where the sort of the capital of that is, it's in Foley, Alabama. That they do sports events so well, and our facility will rival that one in terms of just not only the square footage, but also just the experience of the spectator, because there will be built-in seating. And we're excited to see that come to fruition. We think construction will start first part of next year. And really, Tatum Park and our position in sports tourism is going to continue to be enhanced. We've always done soccer really well. We hosted, I think, almost 200 teams about a year ago. Wow. And with them, they bring their visitor spending. They fill up our hotels for a couple of nights. But to see us take the next step in terms of the indoor part of that, I think really creates even more potential for us to become that destination.
Wow. So, so many things going on, really enviable for any city across the state of Mississippi. So what really is like the secret sauce? How have you been able to get so many of these things done?
Well, I can tell you the secret to Hattiesburg is not who sits in the mayor's office. Trust me. I do think that we have. It is the talent, the work ethic, diversity, the passion of our people who just want to see things happen in their community. People that bring resources to bear, people that invest their time and their treasure and their interests. And having 2 universities in our city that bring people with different life experiences and different worldviews helps as well. It helps shape the vision. But in 2019, our citizens voted to raise the raise the tax on restaurants and hotel motels by 1%. Half that money goes to Southern Miss Athletics. Half that money goes to parks, and that was a real game changer in terms of being able to invest in the spaces we already have. And I think it's another thing that we kind of lean on is that people are willing to contribute. People are willing to invest in facilities that are important to them for the next generation. And 40% of our population right now in our 2 counties is below the age of 40, and I think you see our collective values reflect where that investment needs to go.
That's impressive.
That's a large,
impressive.
yeah. That data, that's pretty interesting too. Of that large of a percentage being under 40. That's interesting. And look, before we get too far ahead here, I know you said it doesn't so much matter who's in the mayor's seat. However, you did just finish an election cycle unopposed, so that's pretty good. I think an indictment of a job well done thus far. So,
well, for those of you looking to run for office, I highly recommend running unopposed. It took me 6 election cycles to have that opportunity, but I'm very grateful to our citizens for recognizing the direction we're headed in and always communicating with us. And look, local government is probably the toughest government there is because there is no anonymity. There is no going out and just having a regular day. But I can't think of another place that I'd rather be raising our 2 kids than right here in Hattiesburg.
Love it.
That's
absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, moving forward, I was going to just piggyback off Paul's last. Talks about the community, everything going in the right direction. So much new, a continuation of so many successes. One of those, I am certain that this community, this mayor, and the rest of Hattiesburg said before, we got a new football season right here.
Yeah.
Right around the corner. Lots of new to be had. Absolutely.
Coach Huff has brought a level of expectation of excellence that I don't think even we expected.
Sure.
But to see how he's quickly retooled that team, and I think we're all excited just to see how vast the turnaround is. And obviously we welcome everyone to the Rock at the end of August as we host a school up north. And then we host Jackson State the very next week.
Yeah.
It's a great schedule too. And I'm excited about the energy and just the expectation of excellence that Coach Huff has brought to Hattiesburg.
I'm excited as an Ole Miss fan. I fully endorse a Southern Miss. Sorry, Drew. A Southern Miss victory in that first game. The point spread, I believe, is at -11. I'm taking the Golden Eagles right now.
I love that.
So anyway, you got me in your corner.
Well, I'm not going to say anything that's going to give anybody any locker room material, but I look forward to a great contest.
There we go.
Exactly right. Look, I've already heard some names. I've heard it referred to many times as I've used it myself. Baseburg. And I heard Huffburg the other day, so I like it.
We'll take it.
We're going to come up with some names on the fly.
And this year we'll call them the Marshall Southern Miss.
That's right.
With like 30 players from Marshall or something.
Hey,
once
you come to Southern Miss, though, you are officially a Golden Eagle, and you're a Hattiesburger, and most half our population didn't grow up here, including myself. So we welcome the transplants.
Absolutely, love the transfer portal.
The hub city, right? We get fed from everywhere. Come here from any direction. Well, look, not to really take things too far into a somber tone or note of things, but one thing we did want to make sure we just talked with you about. It is the 20-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, as some of us were talking about on the way down here. I mean, really one of the major sort of, linchpin issues, things that our generation sort of has faced. You got like kind of 9/11, COVID, Katrina. I mean, it's huge. Were you here? Where were you when that happened?
I had declined my mother and father's request to come to Meridian to stay with them, and so I decided that 100-mile-an-hour winds would, it'd be fine. So I stayed in my rental house on North 37th Avenue. My roommates, including former Commissioner King's son, Chad, wisely went away. And during the middle of the storm, I was on my couch. I went up to go take my neighbor I just thought it was a good idea to take her a walkie-talkie in case the cell phones went out, which they did. But when I was walking back into my living room, the tree fell and landed on the couch.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so it was one of those moments where that could have been bad. And you certainly want to make sure that you recognize the triggering nature of this occasion, because so many people lost loved ones, and so many residents' lives were absolutely turned upside down. And as you said, I think many of our life decisions, particularly those of us who were in our college years or young professional years, they changed instantly because things weren't there anymore. There were other opportunities that came, and I think I'll face 20 years remembering, one, how fortunate I was and so many others to survive that event, but also you just know that in South Mississippi and even in like the Gulf South, Louisiana, New Orleans, that it really was this pivotal moment for people, and you think about their families, but also there's a certain kinship that comes with people who were in the south part of the state and in Louisiana that made it through that, and I think it certainly gave our region a resilience and a determination to go forward, and we appreciate all the people from Governor Barber to Senator Lott, Senator Cochran, who were instrumental in helping us get back on our feet, and you hope that you never want to see another region go through something like that.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed we do not.
That's the truth. And hey, not to get preach or anything, but it is the beginning of August, so it's peak hurricane season. So, make sure you have a plan in place. Even people down in Hattiesburg,
Sure.
It's not just the 6 coastal counties. So I'll pitch MDOT's resources. GoMDOT.com/hurricanes. Go check them out and plan your route out of the South if you need it. So. Anyway, and a little more MDOT related things. So you guys are working with MDOT on a few projects. Do you want to highlight some of those?
Sure. So lighting has been a big thing that we've focused on in recent years, because if you come into our city at night, it's so dark, and it's not safe. I don't think it speaks well when that's your first impression, that suddenly you can't see it right in front of you. So in 2 years ago, we started a lighting project on Highway 49. It was $1 million project from Elks Lake Road up to West Pine Street. We paid for all of that. MDOT helped us and let us permit it. And then we partnered with MDOT on lighting Veterans Memorial Parkway. And in both those stretches of road, there had been vehicular deaths. There had been many accidents, and so we were able to light Veterans Memorial Parkway up from the interstate all the way to nearly Richburg Road, which is that big corridor that goes by the YMCA, by Timberton, by Tatum Park, by the Sacred Heart Sports Complex. And so we're glad to see that finally get done. And we're working towards a project on Highway 49 North now. We really want, when you come into Hattiesburg, for you to feel safer, to be well lit. And we're kind of partnering with MDOT on those kinds of projects. And we also have several taps that are underway right now. 15 years ago, our city, working with a local landscape architect, Ed Blake, who also designed the Crosby Arboretum in Picayune, not Petal. He designed this master plan for Gordon's Creek. Gordon's Creek is one of the 3 waterways that go through our city, and it's really has for 100 years been just the big drainage ditch in the city. And he says, what if Gordon's Creek could be an asset and not just a liability that you had to send to spray and get Public Works to cut every once a month? And so put together a plan for walking trails, and we've been able, over the course of 10, 15 years, to be able to complete certain phases of that. And through the TAP program at MDOT, the school district is doing a piece near Hawkins Elementary. We are currently building the Commons at Gordon's Creek, right across from Cadence Bank in downtown, which will include a pedestrian bridge to our Civic Center parking garage, and also have room for food trucks and a stage, and it will be a real quality of life enhancer on the creek. And then we have funding in place for 3 more phases, one by Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund, which I highly recommend to communities, another tap through near the VFW, and the school district just received another tap to go near Hattiesburg High School. And so we're seeing this plan put forward 15 years ago slowly start to take place. But again, it's about how do you turn the things that are sometimes liabilities or things you don't even notice into actual assets in your community. And I think every mayor or supervisor or alderman has those situations in their own individual communities.
Sure. No doubt about it. I just wish we could have gotten all this about 15 years earlier, so I could have enjoyed it while I was here. I just love it. Everything sounds like it's going the right direction. I'm sure just like anybody else, just like any other city, you guys have your challenges and your issues that you're dealing with. But, man, it seems like there's a lot of good things going on in the burg.
So yeah, we're excited about what's going on, and all you need is more time, more money.
Sure.
And so, whether it's federal grants, state grants, whether it's working through a legislative delegation, I would encourage any local elected official to have that engagement with your state and federal delegation. We have a fantastic team going to Jackson for us every year. We have a great team in Washington, and they have amazing staffs that work with us on things. And of course, having you and Brad up at MDOT certainly helps as well. And so part of any local elected official's job needs to be out there engaging the people that work for you in Jackson and D.C. because that's they want to know what you need, but they want to see you kind of doing your effort as well. And so we've been very fortunate over 8 years. I think we're with this most recent anonymous gift, we're right at $150 million between federal, state, and private funding.
That's awesome. I don't think MDOT can help it with any large anonymous gifts, but the aforementioned TAP programs, he's talking about transportation alternatives. I guess I could look at the camera occasionally, Drew. Wrong camera. Even then I didn't get it right. But that is transportation alternatives. Reach out to the commissioner's office if you have any questions about that, or get with us. Call Public Affairs. We'll be glad to let you know a little bit about it for sure. Definitely a good useful use of funds. All good projects. Without further ado, I believe we're to the wrap it up questions. The last two here. We like to have a good time with these. As a podcast, we enjoy eating and we enjoy music. We spend a lot of time on the roads. Actually, probably ate more than we needed to today at Ed's. There was a gigantic hamburger, but it was fantastic. It was very, very good. So with that being said, as we talked about before the show, we won't make you give us one favorite spot, but I think there have been several new places pop up.
Yes, if you ask me what my favorite restaurant is, I'll tell you that I love all my children equally.
That's the right answer.
But there are a couple that I think if you haven't tried them yet, they're worth stopping off at. I mean, everyone's familiar with what Robert does in Midtown with, Ed's and Crescent City and Mahogany and all those things, and they're fantastic. Everyone's familiar, I think, with what Nelson does here downtown with Hattiesburgers and Blues, Bourbon on Front, Blue Jazz, Nellie's Chicken and Daiquiris. I think two things that you want to check out next time you're here is Big Trouble. It's the corner of North 23rd and North 24th and Hardy Street, and it's an Asian fusion place. And even if you don't like Asian food, you want to check this place out. It's a really neat environment. You also want to check out Bushman Street Cafe, which is a very small restaurant. You need a reservation, but it's white tablecloth, really great food, really great service, really great person knows what they're doing with drinks. It's across from the train depot downtown. Okay. And I would certainly recommend people stop by there, as well as our coffee roastery at Grin Coffee on Broadway Drive. That's been a really neat new spot as well. But I could go on for literally a long time on all the new restaurants that are popping up here, and we're so proud of the talent that we have here, and we're also just grateful for the investment and the sacrifice people who put themselves out there to do those things.
Hear, hear. I mean, excellent recommendations. We'll definitely be checking those out. But I sort of joked as we were pulling in, it's like there's a new place every time we come through. And not that any other ones have closed per se. It's just some other idea that's popped up, and it looks like it's getting packed up. We've enjoyed our culinary experiences in Hattiesburg for sure.
No doubt. That's a good list. We'll put them on the list, Drew. Listen, before the show, I surmised that you were a music person. I don't know. You just give off those cool vibes. So is the second question we have, fun question, is there a concert from the past that you attended, maybe here or elsewhere, that has stuck out in your mind?
So I will say, first of all, Counting Crows are my favorite band of all time. Okay, and since I was 12 years old. And I hate that I missed the show in Gaucher a couple weeks ago. But the best show that I've seen, and I've been to a lot of shows, they played a joint show with Augustana at the Beau Rivage, of all places, and they played the entire set together, and it was the most incredible show, just because I love when you can get 10 people on stage, but they had like 15 people on stage. The arrangements were spot on. I mean, of course, if you ever listen to Counting Crows, they're so tight in the pocket all the time. The arrangements, the counter melodies are all just fantastic, and so that's been my favorite all-time show. My kids, in our 3 or 4 minute commute to school every day, to Woodley, we have always been in the brass bands, and so when a brass band comes through Hattiesburg, we're going to be there, and just very grateful for just, again, the quality of life and the people we get to do life with here.
Hear, hear. Once again, excellent suggestions.
Another great suggestion for sure.
Augustana, this might be the first mention we've gotten from them on the show.
It's really because they were backing the Counting Crows, but even their stuff, the band played. I mean, it was a great show.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. And the Sanger, am I saying that right? The Sanger, is that how it's said? The
Sanger
Theater. There's a bunch of good shows. So come down to Hattiesburg.
One other thing I got to say, and you can cut this out if you need to, for time's sake.
Oh, it's all good.
One thing we're really proud of right now is as we're endeavoring to be the city of 100 murals, and we're at 65 right now. But if you go by our community arts center, there's 2 walls of musicians that were either born here or came of age here or lived here for any length of time. And so your Craig Wisemans, your Blindvelt Roosevelt Graves. But one little known fact about Hattiesburg is that Saturday Night Live legend Fred Armisen was born here. His parents were both international students at Southern Miss. They met here. Fred was born, lived in Midtown for a year before they moved away. And he was doing a comedy show here in March at Brewski's. And we were unveiling the next phase of our mural, and he's on there, and he came to the ribbon cutting. And
very cool.
Nicest guy, most down-to-earth guy, and just super crazy talented, not only as a comedian, but as a drummer, as a musician. Just fantastic. We're very proud to call us his birth city, and so it's been really good to kind of get to know that relationship with him and people like Craig Wiseman too. And we're trying to go back and find these folks that went to school here, spent a few years here, and reconnect with them.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
We'll definitely check that out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I said, just a super cool hip city. Mayor Barker, thank you so much for hosting us today.
Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely. We will go ahead and wrap things up there. Thank you for tuning into the Extra Mile podcast. You can watch and listen to episodes by visiting goem.com/The Extra Mile. Follow us on social media at Mississippi DOT is the handle. We want to thank our editor, producer, Drew Hall, for making the trip down with us. And safe driving to the top, folks.